Hi everyone. So I have an important and urgent message to share. And it's important because it's with regards to our health and something that I keep seeing in my practice. And it's urgent because there's a window of opportunity that's really going to open up some doorways for some people and save them thousands of dollars. So, introduction, I'm Jonathan. I am a regenerative detoxification specialist. I was trained at Dr. Morse's International School of Detoxification. This is his book. If everyone should check it out. So, I work with diet, I work with herbs, I work with fasting, and I work with frequency to support people to reclaim their health and reclaim their wellness, or as Dr. Morse would say, to go back to Wellville. Um, the reason that we use this terminology is because we don't. So, disclaimer: this is not medical advice. Please get medical advice from medical people because that's how it works. I would like to share some health advice with you that's actually focused on health, not disease and not symptomology. So what I would like to share is, or what I'd really do is I'd like to close the conversation of symptomology and disease and cancer. I just want to close that conversation and open up a new one. And the question that I keep getting from all the people that I speak to and all the people that I work with is like, will detox, will frequency, will it help with this? Will it help with arthritis? Will it help with blood pressure? Will it help with hypothyroidism? Will it help with sleep? Will it help with like whatever? Like it's right. Leave the conversation aside. Like leave that conversation aside and let's just have a conversation about cellular health. Right? And so let's have a conversation with the fact that our body is communicating to us through symptomology, and it gives us signs to let us know what might be happening in the body so we can actually turn around and support it. And at the moment, we've outsourced all of our power to these white coats and this business model that's based around disease and deficiency to support the growth of business. And when you focus on disease, then you create more of it because there's no cure. That's why you can't cure disease, because there's no cure. There are only treatments that are sponsored and paid for and patented by pharmaceutical companies. So what I'd like to do is like not talk about any of that anymore, and let's just talk about cellular health. And when we start to see appropriate cellular health, we start to see appropriate cellular function. And we actually move from a state of degeneration into a state of regeneration. So there's some especially important cells in our body which comprise our endocrine system. And our endocrine system, because of all of its hormone production and it's all of the functions that basically are the command center for our organs and our tissue function, there's some important communications happening. And I just want to share one like little bit from Dr. Morse's book, right? So, for example, let's talk about the thyroid, right? So say your thyroid is trying to have a conversation with you. It might look like this, right? So the job of the thyroid and parathyroid includes increasing or decreasing the following: metabolism, the ability of cells to absorb and use glucose, protein metabolism for growth, the use of fats, rate and strength of heartbeat, rate and depth of respiration, and the rate of calcium absorption from blood, intestines, bones, and kidneys. The thyroid parathyroid also has an interrelationship with other glands, not quite understood at this time, right? This is medical science. They don't understand it. The symptoms of hypothyroidism, low thyroid function, include bone loss, improper bone growth, brittle and ridged fingernails, hair loss, cold hands and feet, a dislike of cold weather, heart arrhythmias, heart attacks, depression, connective tissue weaknesses, scoliosis of the spine, arthritis, fatigue, slow metabolism, obesity, hot flashes, cramping, spasms, myxedemas, and growth issues. The symptoms of hyperthyroidism, so overactive thyroid, include goiter, protruding eyes, hyperactivity, thyroid toxicosis, and excessive growth issues. Since the thyroid and parathyroid affects the body's ability to utilize calcium, we find bone problems, depressive disorders, connective tissue weaknesses can be eliminated by regenerating the thyroid and parathyroid glands. Hyperthyroidism, easy to overcome through detoxification, right? So when we just move the conversation, away from like what disease is and what symptomology is, and we start listening to the way the body's communicating with us, and we start to enhance the way that those cells can function by supporting how clean the tissue is and how the surrounding support system is functioning, so it's not being held up by some weak point in the entire body, and it's starting to build up with some waste. Then you'll actually start to see the transcending of these issues that people are asking about. And this is the same for everything in the body. Every question you have about every disease or symptomology, we just bring the conversation back into a conversation that's about health of the cell and function of the cell. And the three things that are really like dominant is the blood, the lymphatic system, and the nervous system. And we start to talk about those three things instead of that whole like world that is a business model and is not set up for your health, then we start to move back to truth. And so through my process, I used a lot of herbs to support my cells to function correctly, to bring myself back into a state of wellness. It was a long process. You need a lot of cellular support when you're coming out of chronic issues. And so what we've just been given by a beautiful guy, Marcus Schmeck and Nuanina, is this device called Healy. So if you're not aware that everything in life is energy and frequency and vibration, you haven't seen that meme on Facebook with what's his name, Einstein and what's his name, Nikola Tesla. If you haven't seen those memes, then like you're probably not our people. But if you do get that everything is frequency, and you can start to move into a world that's beyond even the physical and start to see that they can actually measure cellular health by the charge capacity of the cell membrane, and then as you move from 60 millivolts to minus 30 millivolts, which is a healthy cell, all the way through less and less millivolts and taking you through edema and inflammation and degeneration and disease and cancer down to cell death, if you can start to see that there's a correspondence between cellular charge and actually cellular health, then you can start to maybe understand how if you can provide the right frequencies that are going to target specific tissue and cells in the body that are going to help to increase that cellular charge and bring up cellular function, and that is going to support the body to transcend the symptomology and the conversation that it's trying to have with you and move back into a conversation that is actually more about vitality and regeneration than degeneration and the rest of it, then you sort of like getting what I'm putting down. Anyway, so until the 6th of September, there is a deal on for this. So this device, it can scan your body and then recommended frequencies that have been studied in 20 years of clinical practice that was picked up from the early 1900s when this technology was originally squashed and stopped by the pharmaceutical companies. So this device can scan your body and then recommend frequencies that it's found in 20 years of clinical research that have shown to support certain expressions of cellular function. And when we support those disharmonious expressions of cellular function with frequencies that bring things back into harmony instead of dissonance and chaos, then we start to see better cellular function, we see the increase in cellular charge, and then we see the cells start to function better. They've got studies that actually even show that this is like in the mitochondria pushing up ATP production 500%. So imagine that kind of energy in your cells again. So until the 6th of September, there's an opportunity to get this device basically at half price from the full unit. The actual deal is you get the device above the one you pay for. And so if it's something that you're interested in and you are a health professional, a health enthusiast, you are a therapist who would like to even enhance the way that you support your clients or scale your healing by sharing this device with your clients, and it's set up in a system where you get to, social selling, multi-level marketing. So you can share with your clients, and then how they share then pays you as well. And you can also support them in the way that they use their product to support the way that you're working with your clients, so they actually get better results when they come back and see you next week. They've made leaps and bounds because they can use these frequencies 2 or 3 times a day. That's actually supporting the mission that you guys are on in your healing process, whether it's chiropractic work and you're working with chronic muscle tension, you need to relieve some of that tension so adjustments can actually hold, or we're working with TCM and you're working with meridians and you need to open up meridians to be C1 that keeps shutting down, and by the time they get back and see you next week, they're exactly where they started, or whatever it may be. Whether you take people through healing processes, whether you're a PT and you're working with people at the gym and you're trying to support muscle regeneration, like if you're trying to go down that biohack place, there's an option. You know what I mean? If you're using it for learning and study and for job and sleep and exhaustion and regeneration and rejuvenation and detox, there's frequencies. It's like a candy store. You can pick a frequency that have been shown in clinical research to support these processes. And the beautiful thing about this product, and there's nothing like it on the market, is it will check with you to see if that's the right frequency for you. It will send that frequency into the body, wait for its response. If it gets a response that is in a harmonic, then it will send that frequency until you no longer need it. And when you're finished with it, it will move on to the next one that 20 years of clinical research has shown was the next most positive frequency following that frequency, and then deliver that and see if that was the right one for you, and then continue. So this will work differently for every single person depending on your needs. So if you are interested, and if you'd like to not only reclaim your physical sovereignty and the way that you manage your healthcare, and start talking about health of the cell and the health of this temple, and potentially even wealth if you're interested in the business opportunity, and potentially just more life satisfaction because your clients are doing better than they ever have before, because they have the most powerful personal tool that we've ever had to date in the support of cellular function in our hands. If that's something that you're interested in, there's going to be a link here somewhere that's like to Scale Healing. Check out Scale Healing, and then jump on and fill out an application, because we want to speak to the right kind of people. So if that's you, please hit us up. Much love. Bye.